So good morning, everybody, and welcome to our lovely Zoom room here. There have been a couple of people that have asked in the past about ebooks, and honestly, I don't know much about them. I know that I read books on a device, like a Nook, or sometimes people that have like a little tablet and they'll read a book, but I have no idea how to sign this stuff out from the library, and I'm sure some of you want to learn more about that also. In addition to that, we have a new reference librarian at the Millburn Library. Barbara left, and we have Matt, who I'm going to actually put that in there for your name. I'll fill it out while you're talking. But so Matt Spitzer is new to the library. He's been here about a month, and we're going to turn it over to him so he can talk to you all about ebooks. Okay, thank you, Matt.
Okay, you want to hit tape the show?
Yeah, I did that. We're good.
Okay,
yes.
Just a second. Okay, so hi all. So yeah, I'm the new librarian. I just began last month. And I'm also like the new techie guy. That's kind of why they got me. So if you have any questions beyond the apps, anything about the website, any questions beyond today, you can get back in touch with me, and I'd be glad to help out with that kind of stuff.
Matt, what's your last name again?
Did it just go up?
Yes.
Jamie,
It did
so it's
go
Matt
up.
Spitzer.
Yeah, you should be able to see it by his thing there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, yeah. So has anyone used, I guess not many of you have used the apps that we have specifically.
I haven't.
You haven't yet?
Is that a Libby app?
Yeah, the Libby app. We'll be
Yeah.
talking about the Libby app, and we'll be talking about Hoopla, which have ebooks and audiobooks. And we'll also mention Canopy, which has movies and TV shows. And all of these you can get on the phone, on the iPad, and watch it at home without coming in to actually pick up items. Yeah, so I'm gonna switch to showing my laptop screen so we can get into it. Go this way. Okay. You can all see my screen now, the ebook 101.
Yes.
Little sign. Okay, yeah. So welcome to eBooks 101. I'll show this again at the end. This is my info, my email, and my desk phone with my extension, if anyone wants to get back in contact with me if you have questions beyond today. And then this is the two apps that we're talking about. We'll begin with Libby app, which has ebooks, e-audiobooks, and magazines on the phone and tablets and things. And then Hoopla Digital is a second app, but that also has a collection of ebooks, audiobooks, and it has some TV shows and movies. So we'll be going into those, showing how to get into it, download it, browse books, check out, place holds, and all those things. So let me switch. So this is the library website. This is the home page. You don't have to do this now, obviously. But if you look at the top and you look at this electronic resources tab, if you click on that, and then you just go down alphabetically, this is how you can find the apps to kind of connect you to the websites and help you download it. Hoopla down in the H's, and then we'll actually be beginning with Libby. So this is how you can get to it. That's on the website. But then once you click in at libbyapp.com/welcome, well, let me back up. So I'm going to be showing this on the website. You can just log on to a website and go to Libby app, but you can also download it on the phone. Does everyone know how to download new apps and games on phones? No? Okay, so if you have like an iPhone, an iPad, or something like an Android phone, you should have those little icons like messages, mail, games. One of them, if you have an iPad or an iPhone, looks like this little A symbol. And then if you have something like a Samsung or a Google Android phone, it looks like this little triangle play button. And that's what you'll go into to browse new apps. And you can just go into these. I can't show you because I'm not on a phone, but you can click on these and then you just type into the box Libby and Hoopla, And then within about 2 clicks, you can download them. And then it'll be an icon on the phone, just like mail and text messages and all those things. And if anyone has difficulty doing that, following the presentation, you can always get back in contact with me and I can help you actually get into them. But since this is on my laptop, I'll show you the website one, which again is libbyapp.com/welcome up at the top. And this is what you see on the website. And it's also exactly what you see in the app. So you shouldn't get too confused between the buttons because you'll see exactly what you see on any device you use. So it's just going to begin by asking, do you have an account with the library? We'll say yes. And then we'll want to look up the library. So we'll go to this middle option. And then it actually guesses us just by location. But if it doesn't show it, you can just type in the town name up in looking by branch location. And then you have 2 items pop up. I don't want to make this too confusing, but we actually have access to 2 collections, but you can't access them at the same time. You kind of have to log in, then log back out. So I'm just going to say this second one, which is BCCLS Millburn. This is the one we should go into. This is the collection that we as a town have privately. So we'll have the most items in that collection. We'll have the least waiting times. We'll have magazines in this collection. This eLibNJ, this is a state provided one, which anybody in the state can get to. So as you can imagine, if anyone in the state can get to it, it's gonna have a lot of big waiting times. It's gonna have less items, and also it doesn't have magazines. So when you go in, I would just suggest going into this BCCLS Millburn collection and then just sticking with that one. So we'll go ahead and just click on that. It skipped one step. It just automatically logged me in because I've been logged in, but it usually just asks to get the digits on the back of the library card that you have. So it's just going to say type in the 15 digits. You'll click OK, and then you'll see the screen. So this is the app. Let me just move it so I can see it on my screen. Zoom is cutting me off a little. Oops. Okay, so this is the Libby app. This is what you'll see on the website now and exactly what you'll see on a phone. It takes you to just the main homepage. And if you swipe down, if you scroll down, you just see a lot of general collections. It's going to do some book lists. And you can just kind of keep going down to see things. It gives you magazines if you just want to browse magazines easy. And it just kind of infinitely gives you new lists. It'll show you audiobooks. It shows some special romance collections. Just keeps going. So what we'll do is we'll stay at the top of the app and I'll explain how to navigate easily. Down at the bottom, beginning with the magnifying glass, you have some home buttons that if you click them, it'll take you special places, but also you'll always see these buttons at the bottom. So it's a nice way to navigate because you always can go back to the ones you want. So I'm going to begin with this little box icon next to the magnifying glass. This is actually the homepage it begins on. So you can tell it's highlighted. It goes kind of black and white and then it comes back. This is the browse homepage, as I just said. And we'll kind of go into this and then we'll move on to, once we check out some items, seeing how to actually look inside items. So we'll go into just a couple of lists to see what's available and what's kind of the easiest way to find items. So again, if you just want to browse new to the app, just go all the way down. You'll see some items. And if you just click on these, it'll take you into custom lists. And you can just go down and look at items. When you want to go back, you have 2 options. You can click the back button, which is kind of the same if you go on a website. It's up in the top left with the left pointing arrow. You can click on that. And you can also at any point to get back to the browse homepage, if you keep going into items, into sub items, you can just click the browse icon at the bottom and that'll jump all the way back to the homepage. And you can click that again to go to the top. So you have two options. You can go, back one item if you go inside of a list and inside of a book. And you can also just click on the browse button and it'll take you all the way out as if you closed a book instead of just flipping back a page in a browsing magazine. So let's go into a couple of these browse ones. One that we might look at up at the top is the new items. That's going to be all the most recent items that have just come out, or that at least have come into the app. So if you read it a lot and in a couple months you don't find anything that you like, you can check out this to see what's new. We can go back again. We can see what a lot of people have been checking out, what books have a lot of buzz. You can see this book by Kristen Hanna. It has a placehold item option. So a lot of people have that on hold. A lot of people have been in the line because a lot of people want it. Same with Obama's bio, same with this book. The Vanishing Half is a big book nowadays. It shows the borrow item, which if the book is available, it shows instead of placehold. So this book you can get now. This book you'd have to get into a line. So this is the main items that have been getting all the buzz. If you want to look by subject and genre, you can click on the subjects button at the top of the homepage. And then it'll show if you want to go into romance, you can click on this. If you like mystery books, you can go into that. You can go all the way down. It has a lot. If you can't find what you want, you can click on this button and then you can do it alphabetically if you have difficulty finding what you want. And now it's A to Z. So now if you didn't see romance, you can go down. What happened to it? You can go down alphabetically, P, romance, then you can find it easily. And then, yeah, you can just keep clicking in. If you haven't used a lot of phone apps and things, just keep in mind that almost everything is a button. So if you click on a title, it'll take you to that kind of item page, the same as if you went onto the library catalog on the website. If you click on Julia Quinn, it's going to take you to all of Julia Quinn's books. So that's an easy way if you know someone whose books you like, you can just type in, you can touch the name and it'll take you to that list. Let me keep going back. Okay, yeah, so next I'm gonna back up a little bit. We won't check out an item yet, just yet. We'll see how we can keep finding new items. Does anyone have any questions as of yet, just about the browsing and the button functionality?
Unmute yourself if you have a question.
Yeah, I see some mutes.
Can you click on one of the
Okay,
titles?
my question-
Hello?
Yeah, I
I
can click on
don't want to hold everyone else back, but I didn't get how you got into this in the first place.
it. Okay, yeah, so let me just.
I think I'm gonna have to come in.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd be happy to talk to you on the phone if you want to come visit.
Yeah, I think that would be better for me because
Yeah.
And just so
So
you
let-
guys know, I am going to email you guys the link to the website where you would do this. But at the same time, yeah, you can come to either me or Matt. We'd be happy to help you on your devices also.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll just show.
I have a question. Could I ask my question, please?
Absolutely.
Okay, my question is this. When I'm scrolling down and checking out all these things, if I want to find out whether the book comes in a large print, is that available to me?
Well, that we'll get to once we check out an item and get into it.
Okay,
Since it's an ebook, we can do lots of magic with it. So once we get into the book and we see the text on the page, we can just zoom in on the font size. So you can make any book,
Oh,
big
okay.
font.
thank
So we'll
you.
see that once we get to an item. I'll show that.
Can I Matt, can I just clarify something? Yeah, so an ebook is not an actual physical book. It's actually something you would read on your device. So whatever device you have, he'll show you later on how you can expand the print to make it larger. Okay, so it's not a hard book. It's that you would physically feel it's on whatever device that you might have that you want to read.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, we'll see that soon once we check out an item. But yeah, once we check out an item, if we do it on a laptop, we'll actually read the item on the laptop. If we do it on the phone, we'll actually read the item on a phone, just like a Nook, just like a Kindle. You see it on the phone. So this is the place to actually get and read items, not just check them out and then come pick it up at the building. Okay.
So going back to the other woman's question about how you got there, first you went to Millburn Free Public Library. Is that where you went first? You just want to like go over that first basic step?
Yeah, so you have two ways. If you want to, if you just want to write down the website,
Yeah,
it's libbyapp.com/welcome.
okay, /welcome, okay.
Yeah,
I'll email this to you too.
yeah.
All right, that's easier.
Yeah, that's easiest. I was just mentioning that you can find the links on the website that we have, but
And
you can just
Millburn
copy them.
Site
Yeah.
is millburnfreepubliclibrary.com or what is it?
It's just Millburn Library
Okay,
up at the top, yeah.
.org.
.org, okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yep.
I
But
have
yeah,
a
so-
question. I have a question. I have a Maplewood library card. Can I use that in Millburn Library?
That depends. I believe that Maplewood has Libby too. So when I went into this Libby app and I typed in the town name and clicked on us, you would just type in Maplewood and see if Maplewood comes up, and then you would click on them.
And look for the app?
Yeah, so when you log into the app, it asks you, it asks you to give a town name and sign in using the digits on the back of the library code. You would just type in Maplewood and the code that you have.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Okay, so I'll move on a little bit, but yeah, if you have any questions, just stop me as I go. So we looked at a couple ways to browse. We looked at, the subjects button and going in to see those. We looked at if you just feel like, taking a walk around, you can just go on the homepage and just go down, and they just have, some list of common books and new books. But next we'll see, if we have a specific book that we want to check out, how do we just find that immediately without looking in lists? That's going to be the magnifying glass on the bottom. If it's a phone, it's going to be on the bottom left of the phone. On the PC, it's going to be on the bottom left too. So we'll click on that. And that basically lets us type in anything we want, a book title, Julia Quinn, if we want to find Julia Quinn's book. We can even type in, subjects like romance if we want to find books that way. So if we type in like a subject, WW2, we'll see some, historical fiction type books. If we type in using the back button and then going back into it, if we type Julia Quinn writes books, we see all the Bridgerton books that she has. And if we just want to type in the name of a specific book, like Hamnet, which is a big book nowadays, we can type in that and go. And then we'll just get the exact book that we want. And we can see the item. And then we can see what we can do with it at that point. So at this point, we'll see how we actually get a book. So say we want Hamnet. When I typed in Hamnet up at the top, I got two options. It looks like the same book. The one on the left is the ebook. So this is a book with text you'll read on a phone. If you look at this one, the Hamnet on the right-hand side, you see this little time that it mentions, and you see these little headphone icons. And you also see it says play sample instead of read sample on this side. That means this item is an audiobook. So this one you can get on the phone and you can listen to out loud, just like a book on tape, like you would get physically. So from this page, we have a couple options. We want to get Hamnet, and we want to place hold, but let's just see what else we can do. If, say we have a book we want to get, and as with Hamlet, we can't get it yet, but we don't know if we quite want it. They have this read sample option, and we can click on that, and it's actually immediately going to take us into what you'll actually see when you get the book checked out. Let me just zoom out so I can see a little bit. So right now I'm actually in Hamnet, the book. I don't have it checked out. Basically what I'm doing is I went to a bookshop, say, and I picked off the book of the shelf, and I'm just kind of scanning it. I'm scanning the initial, 10 pages to see if I want it. So this is just a sample. It's only going to give me, 10 pages of the actual book. But this is what the book will look like when you get it. You can kind of click. If you have a phone, you'll swipe. And this is what it's going to look like. You can see this is the beginning of the book. We get a little sample. So you can check it out. If you get stuck in a holds queue, you can say, do I even want to wait? The sample looks actually quite long. If you tap in the middle, if you click in the middle, you get a lot of options. You can exit the book in the back. You can change the font size, which I'll show in a couple minutes using these buttons up this way. And then down this way at the bottom, it shows kind of the length of the book. So you can tell right now I'm about page 35. And you can see down this way, and I can even move it this way, that the sample runs about some 70 pages. And then I get to the end of the sample, and then that's all I can get. But you can get 70 pages, even if you can't get the book right then, to sample out. So that's holding a sample. So I'm going to click in the middle, and we'll go back outside the book. We'll close the book, and we'll get back to this page. And I read the sample, and now I want to place a hold on it. And I want to place a hold on the book itself and not the audio book. So I'm going to go to this left side item, and I'm going to place hold on it. Then it takes you to kind of like checkout receipt screen. It's going to say, do you want to place a hold, just to double check? And it's also now going to tell you how many loans and holds you have out and how many you have available. So now on my own account, I have 3 books checked out that I have kind of on my shelf that I'm reading right now. And I also have 5 books that I can have out at any given time. So when I add this, I'll only have 1 availability left. But then as soon as you hand back in a book, if you have 5 books and you hand 1 book back in, you get a new slot on the shelf. So you have a shelf 5 spaces big, and you can have 5 books out at once. And as soon as you hand 1 back in, you have a new spot available. And that's the same with holds, which this actually is. I have 1 hold that I have standing on my account now. When I click this one, I'll have 2 of 5. And then once I get to 5 holds, that's kind of my limit on how many books I can, put my name on and have sent to me when it's available. So you have 5 loans, 5 holds available. And then if we look down this way, it's actually going to tell you about how long you have to wait. It says if you place a hold on this title, it should be available within the next few days. You can see we have a couple dozen copies available in the system, in the collection, but we have no one waiting. So as soon as someone hands back in a book, it looks like I'll be the next one to get it. So I'll go ahead and place hold. Placing hold on Hamnet. Again, it's just going to let me know my options. If I didn't read the sample yet, I can click on that and check out those 70 pages. It lets you suspend the hold if you want to cancel it, but I just placed it, so I'm not going to do that. And then I can go back to shelf and I can go back to keep browsing. Does anyone have any?
What is shelf?
This shelf, so the shelf with that capital S, that means the books that I have out that I can read now. So that's like the equivalent of you going into the library, checking out a book and taking it home, except
So
this is.
this is your personal collection.
Say again?
The go-to shelf is your personal collection.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll show you now. So if I go to shelf, it's gonna tell me kind of what's on my shelf. This book I had on hold, and it says I can take it out now. So hopefully I'll see Hamlet in that same position in a couple days. This is the book I have now, so I can open it and just begin reading it immediately if I want. And then I also have this audiobook, Murakami, and this is how it always is. All of these books I kind of have in my shelf, so I can read them now. I'm done with the waiting, and I have them available. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. It's a
Okay.
I had a question.
Yeah, please.
On the audiobook, when you stop listening to it, does it leave a bookmark, bookmark for you? How do you know where to pick it up?
Yep, yeah, so it does. So I'm gonna go back, we'll find one item that we get up, that we check out, and then we'll actually look inside. What does the book look like? How can you change the font size? And flag pages if you want to go back to them. But yes, with books, the text that you see on the screen, and with audiobooks, the spoken narrative, anytime you close the app and leave, when you go back in, it's automatically going to know the last place that you closed the book. So you don't have to do anything, it's all automatic.
Do audiobooks have infinite checkouts since people can listen to it whenever they want?
So audiobooks, you have to check them out too. As you can see, this Hamnet audiobook is,
Right.
it only gives me the hold option. So that means all the books available to all the patrons have been checked out. So I would have to wait till one comes back in, and then it can come to my account.
How do they handle if you're late with an audiobook? You get fined?
No. So one, at the physical library with actual books, we have gone fine-free, if you don't know anyway, with most items. But with this electronic app, since it's on the phone and it's all electronic digital, as soon as the 2 weeks, which is how long you can check out any item, as soon as 2 weeks goes up, it automatically just gets sent back. You don't have to do it. If you haven't finished the book and the 2 weeks is up, that's a shame because it's gonna steal it back anyway. So that's,
And you can renew it though if you want?
it doesn't have renews, but you can just go back and check it out if it's available, and you can just place a hold on it. But it doesn't really have like a renew option, so to speak. Yeah.
With the audiobook, like, why isn't the number of people who can listen to it infinite? Like, because
it's
like,
electronic and it's not an actual book.
but like
So-
a podcast, a lot of people can listen to it at the same time. So why isn't this the same?
Yeah, so that's like the business of ebooks and e-audiobooks, things available on phones and tablets. It's just the publishing company, wanting to make money actually. If we buy a book, a physical book from a publishing company, they know that we can only hand it out to one patron at a time. So they depend on us buying multiple copies to make money. But if we get, an electronic book, we can technically make as many copies and hand it out to as many people as possible at the same time, but then they make no money. So that's why that's how it makes sense. It's just
I
the
see.
publishing business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, could you go
Yes.
over the first one or two steps? Like at the very beginning, I want to see if I've got it. The very beginning, we're starting at the beginning. What do we do first again?
Okay, yeah, so this is the homepage, and you want to look up Hamnet again as an example.
How do you get to the homepage? Let's start like in kindergarten.
Okay, so that's this libbyapp.com/welcome. And I'll do that again since we have multiple questions on it. So if you go on the web, type in libbyapp.com/welcome.
Where do you type that? What site? What do you go to first to do that?
It might be easier to show them from the Millburn Library website, maybe.
Yeah, thank you, Jamie.
It might be easiest to type it in.
Yeah, from there, Jamie, from what Jamie just said. Yeah, from the beginning, go to the Millburn Library website and do what again?
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
Yes. So if you go to the homepage and then you go at the top, you see all these tabs. we want to go to the electronic apps page. So that's just one of the-
Electronic apps page at the top.
Yeah, e-resources.
Uh-huh.
You click on that button. And then it's just an A to Z list of all the apps that we have available. So we'll just go down until we see Libby. And then we can click on that. And then it takes us to kind of the Libby homepage. And then this is when, depending on how you want to use the app, you'll change places. If it's on a phone and you want to get the little icon, like the mail icon or the web icon, like the texting icon, and make it an app, you would download it from one of these two shops. And if you just want to go on the web, you can, it lists the link in blue, libbyapp.com, and you can just click on that. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And then I'm back to the actual app.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so let's go and we'll go ahead and, excuse me, we'll go ahead and check out an actual item so that we can actually go inside of a book, flip the pages, change the settings, you know, the good stuff. So let's look up, hang on a second. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the magnifying glass. I'm gonna type in Hamnet again, just to find an item. That one's not available, actually. I'm just trying to find an item that is available. So let's just, okay, so this item I just found on the homepage.
How did you clear it?
How did I what?
How did you clear it? You found something
Yeah,
and you changed your mind for whatever reason. How
Okay,
did
yeah.
you clear it?
yeah,
How
so
did
that's,
you go to the next one?
yeah, so so back what I was doing, I went into Hamnet, I didn't find it. You have two options to kind of go back to the main page. You can click on this back button up in the top left. If you see that, that means you go back to the page you had just been on. So if I click that, I'm back to the home page. And I can also, if I'm in the same spot, I can click on one of these buttons at the bottom. And if I click on this little box one, that's going to take me back to the browse homepage as well. So both of those act as back buttons.
And the magnifying glass at the bottom, that if you could just point that out, that means search. So anytime you need to search for something, you would just click on that magnifying glass.
Yeah, so that's the find tool. So if you have a specific title, if you have, you know, Julia Quinn that you want to look up, you just go to that magnifying find tool. Okay, so I'm on the Julia Quinn page. This item, placehold, that means it's not available. If I look at this one, that means it is available. I can get it out now. So I'm going to click on that one and just get that one out as an example. I'm going to take it out. I see I have 3 of 5 loans, so I still have 2 spaces to get out loans because I can have 5 at once. So I'll click into that. I now have the item out, and I'm going to actually open the book now. I want to immediately begin reading, so I'll click open book. I want to look at this in this website. I want to look at it in Libby. So I'm going to click on Libby, this app. You can also send it to a Kindle app if you have that. I'm not going to get too much into that just because there's a couple of complicated steps. But basically just click Libby and that means I want to look at it now in this place. Okay, so now the book is loading. Okay, so I'm in the app now. Okay. So if this is a phone, you would just swipe by touching the screen and swiping along. If I'm on a PC and I have a mouse, I'm just going to click on the right-hand side to, you know, flip to the right. If I want to flip back a page, I just touch on the left and I can go back pages. And that's how we'll navigate the pages. If you want to get to like the options menu, you tap in the middle of the app. And you can see when I tap that, I see the book, then I see the settings. If I tap it again, it goes away. So I'm going to tap that, and we can see all these options that we have down at the bottom and up at the top. If you want to leave the book, close the book and go back to finding a new book, like we just talked about, you can click up at the top left. You have this back button. If you look at the top right-hand side, we have a couple options. If you click on this A, that's going to give you a lot of like the visual settings options. So this one, text scale, that's going to be the text size. So as you can see, I move it to the right. That means go big. So that's how I can make it a big font book. If it's on a phone and it's too small. If you have a tablet and you don't need it to be as big, you can move it to the left, and that decreases the size of the font. I'll leave it kind of in the middle. If we go down, we can change the look of the page. If like bright white is too painful on the eyes, you can change it to sepia, and that just changes the look of the page. It's kind of got that old-fashioned brown look. And you can also do like this mode. This might be nice at night if you don't want that, that big phone light blinding you. You can go to that mode. I'll change it to sepia. You can also change the style of font if you don't quite like it. And that's just, again, in the settings, which is the A icon, just scrolling down all these settings. We can just change the actual font style depending on what you like. And then all the way at the bottom, we have a couple extra options. If you tap on custom, you see this ... That means, let's see some extra things. We have some additional font styles if you want to check it out. We can change the justification. Not many people do that, but we can also change things like line spacing, if that helps you read it. That just changes the space between sentences if it's too small. And you can also make it bold if that helps you read it well too. Okay, so does that solve all the questions on font size and the look of the book? Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that's just this A icon up at the top. And then we have a couple extra options that you might use, but most likely you won't use it a whole ton. Just like we could find a book by tapping the magnifying glass in the collection page. Within a book, we have a magnification lens icon. And that's if we want to look up a specific quote within the book. If we knew a quote within the book, like this one on the page, we can go back and find the exact page that we saw a quote on. And that's how you do that. Most likely you won't use that too much. That's kind of like a book club tool. If you want to take notes in books and go back and find things, you might use that. But if you don't think you'll use that, you don't really have to take notes on that. And then the last button, this little ribbon tab, this lets you kind of make note of a page. And basically, if you tap the top right of a page, we get this little slip. And then if I advance pages, it goes away. But then if I tap in the middle and get all my settings and options back, if I look at the bottom, I can see that page I flagged. And if I tap on it, if I click on it, I can go back to that page. So that's a good tool if you have a book club where you just want to go back to a section of the book. You can just flag pages. If you see something you like on it, maybe you like this introduction thing. So you just want to tap the top right, and then you have that page saved.
So it's a bookmark.
Yes.
I have a
So-
question. When
Yeah.
you're tapping in the middle of the page, you're just tapping on the white space of the page?
Yeah, so it's the same on a phone if you tap, and on this PC when I use a mouse. If you tap in the middle, kind of all in this space, you get all the settings, you get the back button, you get the view of the book if you want to jump pages.
It's space where there's no writing, basically. It doesn't have to be in the middle of the page.
No, it has to be in the middle, kind of in this zone. You can tap on text, that's the same thing. It just differentiates it from tapping on like the left side of the page. That means flip back a
I
page.
I
And then
see.
the right side means flip that way. But if you tap in the middle, that kind of brings up the settings.
Right down the the center of the page on the right.
Yep, center of the page is settings, right side is flip that way, left side is flip to the left.
Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
yep. Okay, yeah, so that's all the settings in the book. You can also kind of like flip pages quickly down at the bottom if you know that you want to like jump a lot of pages at once. That's not really useful because you don't know what's on page 180. But if we quickly go back to a new item, if we go to this button down at the bottom, which takes us to the browse page, and say we go to something like a magazine, which is listed kind of at the top, just below the home page. If we click on magazines, we'll see why that functionality is useful. If we go to like women's fitness, let's see if this is available. Yeah, so we can check out this women's fitness magazine. I just have enough loans, so I could still get it and show you. If you would like to be notified of new issues, if you have a favorite magazine, you can click show me how, and it'll walk you through the steps. I'm not going to do that now. But let's open this magazine. Just like you would a book, you check it out the same way as a book. You can look at it the same way as a book. You can flip pages just like a book. And let's see. This magazine has a new option. It has a zoom button. Oops. So if I click in the middle, you see this new, I don't even know what to call this symbol, this little squiggle thing. You can click on that. And that way, if you see like an image on a magazine that's too small, you can zoom in, see it that way. And then if we see it down at the bottom, we can actually see the pages of the magazine. So this is kind of like if you just want to skim a magazine, say you want to skip the table of contents and all the ads in the beginning, you can just swipe along a magazine until you say, you know, I want to look at this shoe page. So I'll click on this item, any place on the item, it's going to highlight it. And then I immediately flip to that page. And then I can see the whole page at once. And then I can zoom in if the text is too small. Look at each shoe. I can zoom out again. Oops. And then just like a book, if I want to save a page, I can tap the top right. And then when I want to come back to the magazine, I can just look along the bottom and say, oh, I see that little blue flag. That means I've stuck something in that page. So I can jump back. Oh, this is the shoes I was maybe thinking of buying. That kind of idea. And any questions about magazines? It's the same idea as checking out a book. Yeah.
I have a question about how do you see that these are on your app, on your device? Do they show up as, does it show up within the app? Does it show the books? Like I have an iPad and I have a book little thing, and then I tap the book and it shows me the books. So it's the same thing here?
Yeah, I'm going to show that now. So
Okay.
now that we've placed a hold and now that we have actual items on the shelf, meaning my shelf, the items I have, we can click down at the bottom. We see this little stack of books. That's the shelf icon. And if we go into that, that's going to show my items. On the left side, this little box, that's all the items in the collection that you can get out. But we want to go to the shelf, the little books, and that's going to show all the items that we have. So this is all the items that I basically have available. This is the book. It says ready to get. That means I had a hold on it and now I can grab it. If I move down, I can see, oh, I just checked out women's fitness. So if you had that on the shelf, this is the place you would go to go back into that magazine. The Quinn book that we just got, that's also in this. This is a previous book I had that's on my shelf. And then I also have these two books. This is How It Is and Underground, both audiobooks because they have the little headphone icons. Yeah, so this is the place, the shelf icon down at the bottom. It's always going to be on any page. You just click at the bottom, jump to the shelf, and you can go back into a book that you have. And I'm just going to quickly show what an audiobook looks like, I guess sounds like, to see those settings. This is an audiobook that I have checked out. You can see the little headphone icon. So we'll open in Libby. And then we see, obviously we see no text because it's spoken aloud. So if we click play, it just speaks out loud. And then we have new settings up at the top. Just like a book, we could change font size and the legibility. We have audiobook settings. So if we click on this, it looks like a little speed gauge up at the top. If we click on that, that's going to change how fast the book talks. So if we have something like a casual light fiction book that we don't want to spend weeks listening to, we can speed it up just a little bit. We'll go to 1.15. And then if we listen again, he's increasing the speed that he talks just a little bit. If you find audiobooks too slow, you can change that.
We
You
can't
can
hear
also-
we can't hear the audio, just so you know.
Okay, that might be
When you shared-
just be
Yeah, when you shared screen, I don't know if you shared the audio part too.
okay. I mean, yeah, that's fine. I don't know how to change that quickly, but yeah, that's the playback speed. If we go to this little moon icon, this is gonna be useful if we like to listen to audiobooks, maybe as we go to sleep. This is the sleep time clock, basically. And this basically says, if we go to sleep listening to an audiobook, we might doze off. This is gonna automatically stop the book from playing and going past the spot that we actually stopped listening to it. We don't wanna wake up and find the book well in the middle, and then we have to find the spot that we fell asleep at. So if we click something like 15 minutes, this is gonna play on the phone, just 15 minutes of audiobook, and then it's gonna automatically pause it. So if you wanna go to sleep to an audiobook, this is something you could use. And it's also, you can just use it if you wanna, go on a walk and you wanna go on a 15-minute walk, you can just click 15 minutes, and that way you'll kind of know when it's done. You can use it any way you want.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
is the 10 minutes, does that mean 10 minutes or the end of the chapter, whatever comes first?
I think in this case, it's the same thing. I think I have exactly 10 minutes until the end of it, and that's why it says it. But yeah, usually if you click 10 minutes, it's gonna be exactly 10 minutes, but that might just be a little special thing it did. Let's see what else we have. So just like books, we can flag a page and we can kind of stick something in the page if we want to go back to it, even though it's an audiobook. So if we zoom along, we can go back, we can say, oh, I made a note at this time, let me listen to that again. So you can use that if you want to listen to a section again. And then, the basic settings, you go into the audiobook, you can click play, and then you have two additional options, these 15s. You can see 115 kind of spins and points to the right, and 115 spins and points to the left. That basically lets you jump ahead 15 seconds and jump back 15 seconds. So say you had an audiobook in with headphones and someone began talking to you and you spoke to them a minute and you missed some of the audiobook because it was still playing. You can just tap on that, twice. You can jump back 15 seconds, jump back 15 seconds, and jump back in total half a minute in the audiobook if you miss something. So that's just two little options you have with that. Okay. Any questions about what you can do with audiobooks inside of them? And then the last thing I want to show, this is almost 11, is a special way of finding specific books.
Can I interrupt because
Yes.
we are almost out of time? And you haven't talked about managing the loan, returning a book, and that's where I have a question because I've been futzing with this for like several months and a lot of trial and error, and I'm doing really well.
Okay, yeah.
But
Okay.
when you return a book, and I've been using the Libby to borrow and then getting it into my Kindle by finagling. But when I return a book, I manage the loan, I return the book, and then like a week later, I get an email from Amazon about $9.99 for the book and I just delete it. But I don't know why I get Amazon bills on the books that I'm borrowing through Libby.
So you said something about Kindle. Do you send the books to Kindle?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's the
That-
Kindle app. Sometimes it comes up on the Kindle on Safari, but then I get it into the app. I don't know how I do this. I finagle.
Okay, yeah, that I'll look into, and I'll show my contact info at the end. Maybe we'll get back in touch once I look at that. 'Cause that
Okay.
might be an Amazon thing, not so much of a Libby thing. If you just use Libby, you obviously have nothing to pay. It
Right.
sounds like Amazon is doing something funny, but yeah, get back and contact me if you want about that.
Okay.
But I'll just mention now,
But you really should go over the managing, the returning part before we run out of time.
yeah, so in the shelf, this is all my items that I have on hold, that I have on my shelf available to read. If we go down to like this magazine that I just got out, you can see that I can open it in Libby, so I can read it again. And then if we click on this manage loan button, this is how I can hand it back in if I'm finished. Like I said a little while ago, each item has a 2-week loan. And if you use it the whole 2 weeks, it's gonna automatically get taken back. No fines and no mistakes because it's automatic. But it's helpful to hand it back in because someone else can get it then. Because like I said, each item can only be taken out by one patron at a time. So yeah, click on manage loan. We can see due in 2 weeks. I just got it out today. I have 2 weeks. It says it on the main page. But manage loan, and then I want to hand it back in now. It just lets me know to double check, and then it gets handed back in. And then it's just going to ask me about notifications, but I'm not going to do that now. And then I can just hop back to my shelf, and I'll notice that the magazine is gone. It's now handed back in. If I want it again, I'd have to fully check it out again once I find it. Does that make sense? Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about, we have a lot of people who just want the books, with the text, and a lot of people who just want the audiobooks so they can listen to it. An easy way to do that, if we go to the Browse tab, get to the home page, just down in this block of things, we can see the Preferences thing. We can click on that, and then this, anything we set in this, it's going to show those items on this homepage. So one thing you might do if you only listen to audiobooks is click on this. I only want to see audiobooks, apply that. And then it takes us back to the home page once it's been updated. And we can see all these headphone icons. That means I'm now only seeing audiobooks. So if you only like audiobooks, you can set that, and then you don't have to waste time scrolling past ebooks and magazines. But you'll, on the same hand, if you like multiple things, this homepage is now only showing audiobooks. So you'd have to go back into preferences. You can tell by this little 1 symbol, I have something applied. I want to see any item, not just audiobooks. I have to apply it again. And now I'm back to, on my homepage, seeing books, audiobooks, and magazines. So just, if you apply that, just don't be confused if you want to only see magazines and then you come back into the app and you don't see audiobooks. That's just because you've limited it to only seeing magazines. So just go back into preferences, change it to any type of item and apply, and then you'll kind of be reset to the default view. Okay, yeah, so I'll stop now and take any additional questions if we have them.
Can you do podcasts and newspapers through Libby? Or any
No.
other service?
Podcasts, we don't have any app that does podcasts.
Newspapers?
Yep, no, we have access to some on websites, but not in any of these neat little apps. So Libby only has ebooks, audiobooks, and magazines. So that's the extent of this.
Matt, can I ask you something that has nothing to do with ebooks?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why is the library closed on Saturdays, and when will it be open again?
That was just a COVID policy. I can't tell you exactly when because it's not totally planned yet. It kind of depends on public health. But we've been talking about opening it back up on the weekends. So hopefully it'll be coming soon.
Thank you.
And we'll put out announcements obviously when it's open, but it shouldn't
Good
be.
news.
Yeah, good news.
Thank you.
Okay. Any last questions? I'll show the website again, libbyapp.com/welcome. If you just want to go to it directly by typing it in the top. And then I'll leave up my info. This is my desk phone with the extension and my email if you want to talk to me that way. And
Well, thank you very much, Matt, for all your assistance. That
Yes.
was very informative. I must say I learned a lot too. So I hope you guys did also.
Okay.
I will be sending an email follow-up to you guys with some links to the Libby app and a couple other apps where you can check out ebooks and I think even DVDs. Is that correct? Or movies, I mean.
Yeah, so we didn't quite have time. Give me like 1 minute to talk about them. So we didn't get to Hoopla Digital. That's kind of the same thing. It's its own website and app, but once you get in, you can get audiobooks and ebooks just like Libby, but you can also get movies, TV show, and like music song albums. And then we also have something called, just gotta find it. We also have something called Canopy, which is just movies and TV shows. It's kind of like Netflix. It's got the same kind of view as Netflix. Once you log in, you have access to movies and TV shows, and you can watch this at home on an iPad, on a phone. You can put it up on the TV if you have the capabilities to do that. Yeah, so we have a couple apps, and if you want to find out about one that we didn't talk about today, Hoopla and the Canopy movies and TV show ones, you can definitely get back in contact with me, and I can, talk to you one-on-one about it. I can definitely do that.
All right, well, thank you very much. Like I said, I will send out the links to the different applications that are offered, including Matt's contact information for everybody, okay? So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you.
All right.
You can have all of us bothering you. You're not gonna be so happy. you did.
That's totally
very-
fine, yeah. All
very
the questions
busy.
you guys have.